you kind of prepare yourself when you know it's going to happen. She told us probably 4 months before she passed, she told us she was going to stop treatment because she had tried literally everything. She tried everything. She had no quality of life anymore. It was just crazy. So you kind of prepare yourself. Once you're told, you go into protection mode and you just start to prepare yourself, or at least I did. I felt very strong about it. Like, I need to be strong for her. And I was used to that role after kind of nursing her for this time. I really felt like I needed to be strong for her. So it was more about me being there for her during this process. And I didn't really process what was going on myself. I didn't really understand how to. When you're 17, you're aware, but you're not really aware. When you get older and you look back, you're like, wow.
Welcome to the Radical Health Rebel podcast with your host, Leigh Brandon. If you enjoy the podcast, please leave a 5-star rating and a warm review. And now, here is Leigh, the Radical Health Rebel, with this week's podcast.
Aimee Buchler, welcome to the Radical Health Rebel podcast. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
It's a pleasure. So today's episode is entitled From Bereavement to Achievement. Now, bereavement, and therefore grief, is a condition that, quite understandably affects many people and can halt someone's progress in life.
Yeah.
In fact, for some, losing a loved one, especially a parent, when young, can have significant long-lasting effects well into adult life, and sometimes can be lifelong. In my own family, my dad and my aunt lost their dad, my granddad, when they were young, and I was just 3 months old at the time. And my sisters were also very young. My nieces lost their dad to cancer when they were in their mid-teens, and a close friend of mine lost his mum to cancer when he was in his late 20s. And my sister also lost her best friend to cancer when she had just turned 20. So I've asked Aimee to come on the Radical Health Rebel podcast today to discuss how she dealt with losing her mother at a young age and the journey that she's traveled on, not only to heal from the experience, but to thrive in life and to help others achieve health and wellness in life. So I'm really excited to be having this discussion today. So Aimee, can you share with us your upbringing and, how life was for you growing up, and also tell us about your experiences with your mum, in the first 17 years of your life?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in a very loving home. There were some darker patches coming from my father's side. He had some really, really deep anger issues as I was growing up. So this automatically kind of caused a bit of a dissonance in energy around the house most days, especially on a Friday night. However, other than that, it was a very loving home. I was very lucky to be brought up by them, especially by my mother. She was extremely caring, and she made sure that she had everything organized, proper Virgo. Her diary was just full of me and my sister's names, every single hour what was happening with us. And she really introduced me to the world of spirituality and service. It wasn't really something my sisters were into, but it's something that me and her connected on. How important service is and helping others. From a very, very young age, she took me to volunteer a lot, and really introduced me to that world. So yeah, that was pretty consistent until 17. She got sick when I was 11. And the journey from 11 to 17 was a very interesting, deep journey that I went on. Yeah.
So apart from your mum kind of introducing you to spirituality and, looking after others, how else, was your relationship with your mum, would you say?
I would say it was extremely deep. We connected on a very deep level, like proper soul mates, soul family. Whatever we were in a past life, we were very, 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 very close. She was very close with my sisters as well.
How many sisters?
2 sisters.
Okay.
But we definitely clicked in terms of the spiritual side of life and the deeper conversations. We really relished in that together. So yeah, I would say she was very supportive of me. She always said, I will always guide you, but I will never force you to do anything. So from a very young age, she always guided me, but she gave me the space to be who I wanted to be and be who I am, which I find extremely important and something I will absolutely take into my own life with my own kids one day. Yeah.
Excellent. So, I can't imagine really what it must have been like to lose your mum at 17. So what was it like for you?
It was very interesting, to be honest. I basically nursed her from 15 to 17. I just turned 17 when she passed. So probably from late when I was 14 to 17, I pretty much took her on those 2 years, helping her medically, changing her tubes and things that needed to be done, and helping her, with food and rest. And I guided her through a meditation every single night to put her to sleep, probably for the last 12 months. And then, you kind of prepare yourself when you know it's going to happen. She told us probably 4 months before she passed, she told us she was going to stop treatment, because she had tried literally everything. She tried everything. She had no quality of life anymore. It was just crazy. So you kind of prepare yourself. Once you're told, you go into protection mode, and you just start to prepare yourself, or at least I did. I felt very strong about it. Like, I need to be strong for her. And I was used to that role after kind of nursing her for this time. I really felt like I needed to be strong for her. So it was more about me being there for her during this process. And I didn't really process what was going on myself. I didn't really understand how to. When you're 17, you're aware, but you're not really aware. When you get older and you look back, you're like, wow, I was aware, but not really aware. And so I did what I could. No one really knew how to deal with it. It was new for everyone. So it's not like someone could be like, right, Aimee, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. I kind of just let myself be. And I always was focused on being a better person, because that's what she had always taught me. So the day she died, the night she died, I, left her room, hysterically crying, and then very quickly sat in the kitchen on my own. And I remember just going through a list of all the things I'm going to achieve, because it was very clear to me in that moment, you can go one way or you can go another way. It was super clear. It was like, right, you going up or you going down? What do you want to do? And then I was just listing like, right, I'm going to ace my exams, and I'm going to achieve this, and I'm going to graduate with this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to travel, and I'm going to be amazing, and I'm going to help people. And it was like a crazy list I was telling myself. And was that a coping mechanism? Yeah, probably to some degree, but I would say a healthy one. I didn't even realize what I was doing in that moment, but it felt right. And I used the grief to drive me to achieve things and to be better and to learn and to explore. I feel very lucky, because I kind of always had that within me, that I was like, I want to explore and I want to grow, and I'm curious. I had so much curiosity, and I think curiosity really guides you into life. If you're curious, you will go and try things and do things. You don't want to go down. You want to go up when you're curious. And when you lack curiosity, I find it to be, life can become quite plain if you're lacking curiosity and awe, you know?
Sure. I mean, it sounds like another word for curiosity. I mean, it's not a direct correlation, but in your situation, the word that comes to me is brave. It sounds to me like you were quite brave. Like you used the word curiosity, but I think if you use the word brave, I think you could almost substitute that as well. You say, so you took the grief and you put a positive slant on it. What do you think would have happened if you'd have gone the other way?
I mean, there's only really a few things you can do, right? Drink, drugs, this, that. But I'd already done that, you know? Like I spent 6 months when I was probably 16 with my friends going raving, trying different drugs. But this is what always happened with me. I would always be curious to try things, but I never got addicted or attached to things. I understood the importance of not doing those things long term. It was a feeling. It's like my intuition was guiding me, and it was always very, very strong, but I was unconscious that it was my intuition. I just followed my feelings, which now I look back on and I'm like, wow, like I was quite in tune with my intuition. The feelings were so strong when they felt wrong, you know, it just didn't feel right. Like, you're not doing this anymore, going raving, taking drugs, like, you know, fuck that, right? So I stopped that. And then like a year later, she passed away. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that anymore. I've done that. Maybe if I hadn't done it and I had a very strict childhood and my parents were strict, probably would have gone and tried that stuff. Yeah, like that's why I'm so grateful for the freedom I got. Is that right always to have that, to give your kids freedom? I mean, maybe with the right personalities, and they could see maybe I was the right personality, but I don't know. I don't really know the answer. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if you put restrictions on people, especially teenagers, what happens at that age is that you're moving into the realm of the third chakra. You're trying to create your own self-identity, your own ego. So if your parents tell you to do something, what's the last thing in the world you generally want to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Is what you've been told to do, right? That's the rebellious teenager. So yeah, it sounds to me like, you possibly, the fact that you had that freedom, shall we call it, you tried that and you kind of said, well, that's not for me. That's not my path, but had you have, as you said, been more restricted, and then you're trying to deal with the pain of your mum passing, it sounds to me like, it's possible that the reason that you did that when you were 16 is that you were in pain because you kind of knew where it was going. And, people use substances to block out pain, right? They want to numb themselves so they can't feel.
Yeah.
So perhaps you could have gone that way.
Yeah, I think there would always have been a chance. But like, I used to wake up the next morning being like, I feel like shit, and I never want to touch that stuff again, It wasn't like, I need to keep numbing. So for me, it was never going to be an option to go that way.
Cool. So I guess my next question you may have already answered, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Was there an actual point anywhere in this process where you thought, okay, well, I need to heal from this grief? And if so, what did you do next?
Very quickly, I did two things, one conscious, one unconscious. The conscious thing I did was I searched for a teacher straight away, spiritual guide that could help me deal with this in a way that wasn't your usual therapy, right? I wasn't really keen on going down the traditional healing route for society. I wanted to find something deeper, something I could connect with. So I met a wonderful man called Simon Lau, a Chinese astrologer and herbalist who transformed my path and really helped me heal in ways that I can't even describe. I met him, and then he was kind of like a therapist for a year, and then became my teacher for about 2-3 years after that, because I was so fascinated by Chinese astrology. He did my chart and knew me better than anyone knows me, and I was like, what is this? This is insane, you know? And through that was able to guide me in my life and my relationships and my career, through my healing, because he understood who I was and what I needed, which was magical and life-changing, and I'll always be so grateful for him. That was conscious. I was searching for people who could help me heal. I took up meditation. I did loads of soul searching. I went traveling.
At what age did you start this process?
17, straight away.
Okay. Yeah.
I found him straight away. It was actually my sister who doesn't believe in any of this stuff, who now does a bit more. But at the time, she said to me, Aimee, I met this guy through a friend, and he did my chart, and it was crazy. You need to see him. And I was like, wow, if she believes this, then I'm gonna go. So that was amazing. But subconsciously, something else I did to handle the pain was I really put the pain into training, and I found a love for the gym. I left dance, and dance was what I was doing my whole life, and I was going to be a dancer, and that was the path I saw myself, on. And then I got into the gym right after she passed away, and really fell in love. I was like, wow, you can sculpt the body? This is crazy. That's so cool, What an amazing form of art. And so I took that up, and I left dance, and I became a PT when I went traveling at 18. And then when I came back, I competed. And it was when I was competing that, I really channeled a lot of my energy into competing. And it was really my sister who noticed that. She's the one who said that. And I was like, wow, you're right. That's exactly what's happening, So yeah, I would say subconsciously competing helped me deal with the grief, again, in a positive way, more positive than doing drugs and alcohol and so on. But it was still an outlet that was subconscious. And when it's subconscious, when you're not dealing with the grief consciously, you're still suppressing it. You may be giving it an outlet, but you're still suppressing it. But it helped me so much, though, it really helped me on my healing journey so much.
One of the things that I see in my own practice, and I've seen, over the years, is that sometimes people can turn to exercise to deal with anger. Now, it might be subconscious anger, and I'm just wondering, possibly, I know, obviously, not directly, but I'm just wondering, sometimes when people pass on, there can be a degree of anger that, how dare you leave me, right? I'm just wondering if perhaps that might, because obviously when you train hard, it's really good for dealing with anger.
100%.
I'm just wondering if that might be part of what was happening subconsciously. Thanks for watching the Radical Health Rebel YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to share with your friends and family, or share via your social media. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to receive notifications of new video clips from the podcast. And if you want to watch the full episode, completely ad-free, plus premium content, and join the Radical Health Rebel Patreon community, head on over to the Radical Health Rebel Patreon channel at www.patreon.com/Radical Health Rebel. Thanks again for watching.